The Sacred Mass, chapter 46, and nursing an old wound. Lian sat on the bed waiting and expecting, and he brought out from under the pillow a little box of his own, and he showed it to Helmer, who opened it with a smile on his face, and inside there was a ring with a heart scale as the ornament. "I see you like the ring," said Lian, pleased. "I grew this heart scale for someone else a long time ago, and my grandpa decapitated him for corrupting the crown prince. Grandpa gifted me his head as a warning of what happens to fairies like me when they die and go directly to hell." "I'm sorry, Lian," said Helmer after a long pause, "but I can't accept this ring." "Then take yours back," said Lian, removing the ring. "Give it to someone you truly love." Helmer took his present back, and he wasn't amused by the fact that Lian seemed to be reading his mind. No, that wasn't truly what was happening. Lian apparently could read people's emotion. And if you didn't love him, he would know. Helmer returned to the bedroom with his backup present, and this time he offered Liam a pair of rose-shaped ear studs. Liam put on the new earrings, and he gestured Helmer to come closer. Helmer removed each article of his clothing little by little, and he had his back turned to Liam during this proceeding, and from time to time he would steal a glance at Liam's blue eyes. And whenever he did, the hysterical laughter would appear again. He's just nervous. Before Helmer turned around, Liam wrapped his arms around him, and he kissed the nape of Helmer's neck, and he imbibed the aroma of his black hair. The hair smelled like lavender. Liam whispered into Helmer's ears, "I'm a little rusty. I hope you can forgive me if I end up not meeting your expectations." And Helmer caressed Liam's cheek, and he sighed with contentment, and he asked, "And pray do tell me, when was the last time you were with someone?" "I do not think you're going to like the answer to that question," said Liam, smiling. "So you're playing the role of shy virgin?" asked Helmer. "I don't think that role suits you." "You like role-playing, don't you? And I thought you would like this little game of mine," said Liam, chuckling. Liam lay back with Helmer on top of him, and he was acting shy in the bed, and he would not look at Helmer, rather he pretended to be embarrassed. And Helmer kissed Liam's cheek, and he took Liam's hand into his own and brought it into his face, and he passed that hand over his slender body. And his body was no longer scrawny or skeletal. It was delicate and slender, with a few hints of musculature here and there, and with everyone's help he had managed to improve his overall physical health. And Helmer guided Liam's hand to sample every piece of flesh he had to offer, and he leaned forward, so that every part of the front of his flesh made contact with Liam, and Helmer wanted to blend into him, to become one with him, and Liam wrapped his arms around Helmer's slender frame to reciprocate that sentiment, and even the winds embraced him as well. And Helmer looked into Liam's face, and he saw a smile he had never seen before. Most of Liam's expressions were restrained, affected even. This smile was genuine. Helmer proceeded to kiss every square inch of the exposed flesh on Liam, and then he finally kissed Liam's impressive specimen. And the soldier did not require much encouragement, and after a few minutes of kissing and licking, Liam was finally ready to consummate their union. And Helmer positioned himself on top of Liam, and then he proceeded to take into his very core everything that Liam had to offer. And Helmer did not start to move right away, rather he sat there enjoying the sensation of being one with the man he desired. The spell was broken by Liam, who held on to Helmer's thighs to start the consummation, and he lifted Helmer up and down, thus dictating the rhythms. And Helmer leaned back, and he closed his eyes to get lost in the sensation. And as the ripples of pleasure began to mount, he started repeating the same words over and over, "I love you." And when they finished consummating their union, Helmer wrapped himself inside Liam's arms the way he did whenever he sat with Liam in the rocking chair, and sighing, he said, "I wish this night could last forever." "What if it could?" said Liam, forcing a fake smile. "That would be great, but nothing is ever that convenient," said Helmer sadly, and he added, "And what do you think is going to happen tomorrow?" "I'd rather not think about it," said Liam, sighing. "I had given up on thinking about tomorrow. Every day is a surprise. I don't care about anything anymore." "Not even about me?" asked Helmer, pouting. "You are the one thing that is important to me at this very moment, And I was finally able to make somebody happy, even if it is just one person. That is enough for me," said Liam, getting up while carrying his lover. "Where are we going?" asked Helmer. "And I thought that since this is our wedding night, we might share a drink and about a special wine for the occasion," said Liam, smiling. "Oh, Liam, my love, you really shouldn't have," said Helmer happily. And the two went downstairs to the kitchen, and Liam sat Helmer on top of the table to be at eye level with him. And he opened a bottle, and he served Helmer a bit. And Helmer smelled the glass, and he tasted the wine, and he smiled with satisfaction. Liam poured 2 glasses, and then they waited a bit to allow the wine to breathe. And while Helmer waited, he started to playfully stroke Liam with his delicate feet, and Liam kissed the feet with reverence. And Helmer closed his eyes again to enjoy the sensation. Turning serious for a second, Helmer said, "Liam, you seem a bit distressed." "Somebody almost took me today, and the feeling of being helpless, it is one I hope not to experience again. But I suppose there is always someone stronger, craftier than you," said Liam, sighing. Liam handed Helmer the glass of wine, and Helmer took a sip, and then another and another, and the two ended up getting a little too drunk. Back in Caron, Allan was conversing with his friend, and he was in a particularly good mood since his father had finally found himself a boyfriend. And if Liam married Helmer, then Gregory would become his step-uncle, his cousin. He began to mentally picture Helmer and Liam's wedding, and Allan took Caron's hand and he forced a fake smile. And the only time he could be with Caron was when Gregory's lust demon allowed it. Allan said to Caron, "You know, it is your turn to get tied up." "Is that so? When was that even decided?" said Caron, pretending not to remember. "Yes, you remember," insisted Allan. "Well, Gregory has to work on his father's painting, and shouldn't we start looking at sketches?" said Caron shyly. "Oh, no you don't," said Gregory. "You're not talking your way out of this one, not after what you did to me when it was my turn." "Yeah, the piano wire you used was a bit of an overkill. But since Caron suggested it and you agreed to it," said Allan, said Caron, blushing deeply. "No, but me, my butt's too sore for all of that piano wire lashing," protested Gregory. Lord Siegfried passed by and he said, "If you're going to talk smart, please do so in your loudness. There is children in the house." "Sorry, Dad," said Gregory apologetically. Gregory went upstairs to put away the drawings before entering the loudness, and Allan was debating with Caron the rules and regulations of the next play session. And by the time Gregory returned, Caron had agreed to be tied down with silk, and instead of a whip, they would use candle wax. And Gregory went to make dinner, and Alisa's belly had grown quite exceptionally during the summer. And according to Lorica, Alisa was going to have twins. And after dinner, Marina delighted the family with her music, and when Julian and Hope got sleepy, Marina tucked them in, and she sent the 2 boys to sleep, and she kissed Julian on the forehead, and then she said, "Sweet dreams, children." "Marina yawned, and she said, "Time for me to have some dreams on my own. Some sweet dreams on my own." When dinner concluded, Allan and Caron and Gregory went to the little loveness. The bed was not big enough for 3, and there was a cabinet littered with different toys and supplies, and whenever Allan found a new one with an interesting shape or design or gimmick, he would bring it back. And since it was Caron's first time being tied down, Gregory and Allan resolved to be quite gentle about the experience. And Gregory started by tying up Caron's hand with a silk ribbon, and as he did, Allan was kissing Caron and petting his back to reassure him of their bond. And Allan frowned when he saw Caron sporting the heart-scale ring. And Gregory had his own wedding ring as well, and Allan buried his face into Caron's hair, and he pressed his body to embrace Caron with such love and tenderness. And Gregory added himself to that embrace. And Caron said sternly, "Gregory, can you untie me?" Gregory removed all the bindings, and Caron, holding on to Allan, said, "I do not want you to panic, but Minx is behind us, gesticulating and chirping like a mad woman." And Allan turned as pale as a sheet, and the silhouette of it was visible through the moonlight. And Gregory opened the window shades, and the creature in its current form was visible in all its grotesque splendor. And in its current form, it looked like Liam, and his body was swelled like a mangled corpse, and on the other hand, Mincy had a Helmer doll, and she kept dropping the doll off the edge of the window. And Allan took a nearby pillow to scream to it, and when he was in control of his emotions, the friends got dressed and they left with Mincy to see what was wrong with Helmer and Liam. Allan asked Gregory, "Just how well do you know Liam?" "Not very," said Gregory. "And he was always busy being king, and during his free time he was trying to educate me and the others." And Mincy pointed towards the cliff. And since it was dark, they couldn't make out what it was that they were supposed to be looking at. If it wasn't for the full moons, they would not have been able to see the silhouette of Liam near a small shadow. Allan yelled with frustration, "Oh, for crying out loud! What is it about this place that makes people want to jump off a cliff?" And on that weekend, a traveler lady had jumped from the cliff while clasping her shawl in her hands. And during tourist season, and even in the late fall, it was common for there to be at least 10 attempts. And with the Civil War in no time, such incidents had increased to 100. And Allan teleported Gregory and Caron nearby, and Liam was flapping his wings as he got closer to the cliff's edge. The wings were coated with an icy sheet, and his eyes were bright red. Laughing maniacally, Liam said, "I don't see why you're so worried, Helmy. It turns out my wings are not so useless, and I bet with the updraft I will be able to fly even without magic." "I don't know, Liam," said Helmer, trembling in his nightgown. Maybe you should try flying with some supervision, and maybe from a lower ground." "Oh," said Gregory, "your brother wants to fly. Tell him to go home." "Liam, I had a lot of practice before flying, and I didn't start off by jumping off a cliff," said Gregory, putting his arm around his brother's. "We can practice tomorrow with a chair, or maybe we can jump from the second floor balcony, but right now it is past Helmy's bedtime." Liam's eyes changed to blue, and he said, "Are you tired, Princess Helmy?" "Yes, Liam, I'm sleepy," said Helmer, crying, "and I'm cold. Please take me home." Liam smiled benevolently as he left the cliffside, and Allan put his arm around Liam's waist to teleport him home, and Helmer took back the others. And Liam was trembling from head to toe, and he asked, "You won't tell Dad that I tried to escape again, will you?" "I won't," said Gregory, giving a fake smile. "I tried to fly away, but I fell and broke my legs, and Dad said that if I tried that again, he was going to cut off my wings," said Liam, trembling. You don't think that he would do that to me, would he?" No, he wouldn't, Liam," said Gregory, sighing. And this time it was Gregory who exhaled an icy cold breath. Allan took his father to his own bed, and meanwhile Gregory busied himself with his older brother, and he got him a warm bath to water away the chills. And even with the wings torn, Liam was still trembling like a leaf. And during the bath, Caron switched out the dirty bed sheets, and he also brought out a winter jacket as well. And Liam stumbled on top of the bed, and once he was wrapped up in the bed sheets and the jacket, Gregory sat down on the bed beside his brother, and Gregory patted Liam's head, and his face was still red from the wine, though he had thrown up a good portion of it while he took his bath. Can you get me my pillow? I miss my pillow so much. I think I left it in Helmer's bedroom," whispered Liam. "I'm going to go look for it, Gregory, and you stay here with Liam," said Caron, getting out of the rocking chair. And Caron left to the other room, and Helmer had a dogged look on his face. Mincy was there as well while she cradled little Lichi, and she was back in her true form. And Caron said, "Liam wants his pillow, and he said he left it here." "Take my lavender cologne and douse a pillow with it," explained Helmer, "and then take it to Liam." Caron did as the Arch Magus ordered, and Caron took the pillow doused in lavender cologne to Liam. And Liam smiled when he smelled the lavender, and he hugged his new pillow, and he said, "My pillow. Thank you, Caron, for getting it for me." Liam sighed, and he closed his eyes to sleep, and Gregory too settled down to dream, and instead of dreaming, he had a nightmare. He dreamed that his parents were cutting off his wings, and he awoke from the nightmare close to sunrise. And in the other room, Allan had fallen asleep beside his father while Caron was sleeping in the rocking chair. There was peace for the time being. Bye-bye and God bless.